Hello and welcome to a bit of a damp and dreary day outside here in beautiful Nova Scotia. Not so sunny Nova Scotia today. I don't mind though. We've had quite a bit of sunny weather, dry weather over the last few weeks, and the garden needs a good watering. So rather than me walking around with a watering can or a hose, it's much better for Mother Nature to do it for me. So I'm in the greenhouse, as you can see. I've just been picking some nice bit of spinach for Mrs. F's smoothies that she makes. She makes a fruit smoothie, but she slips a few of these in for some extra energy, etc. So that's good. The salad bar in the centre of the greenhouse is looking absolutely magnificent. It's looking a bit of a forest in there. And in fact, the Asian greens, you can see, because it's been so warm, are starting to go over already. I don't mind that. Soon be putting the tomatoes, etc., that are growing beautifully over there. They'll all be going in here soon. Just as I need a bit more worry that there's not going to be any frost, and then I'll plant them in there. Well, once these salads go over, I'll be planting them up anyway, so that's okay. But talking of warmer weather, we might be picking all these nice greens as the seasonality at this time of year. Down in the raised bed area down there, my asparagus. I spy with my little eye something beginning with A. A nice bit of asparagus popping its head up there yesterday. So I'm really pleased with that because I love a bit of asparagus. Nice roasted asparagus just for about 10 minutes with a bit of butter and some garlic. Ooh, ooh la la, lovely. So I'm looking forward to that over the next few weeks. But it's time now to turn my mind to some warm weather plants, aka runner beans, climbing beans of different sorts, your yellow beans, and sweet corn, or just plain corn as they call it over here. So I've been instructed by Mrs. F this year to increase my sweet corn yield over the last couple of years. Well, last year was a really good year. Some beautiful, absolutely beautiful sweet corn. The year before was a complete disaster. Hopefully I've learnt from that. But I've got 2 big beds worth, hopefully I'm going to fill this year. So I've got lots of sweet corn to plant. Cucumbers, got those to do. I've got various different squashes, courgettes, what do they call them over here? Zucchini, and various different beans. And I've got this. No, that's peas. Where's the other one gone? I've lost it. There was some sort. Oh, here we are. Zucchini, or courgette as I call it. Black Beauty. That sounds a good one. I fancy that one. So I've got all that sort of stuff to plant. And I've been particularly disciplined this year, I feel, in waiting so long to plant my warm weather plants, because usually I'm champing at the bit, whatever you call it, and I'll have normally got them in sort of towards the end of March, and then I'm sort of hanging about, putting them in bigger and bigger plant pots, waiting for the sort of last frost, which here in Nova Scotia is normally possibly around the first week in June. They normally say wait for the last full moon or the first week in June. So that is when that's when I start to plant things out. But I've been quite disciplined this year, so I've waited now. This is the end of April, so I'm going to plant, at least inside anyway, I'm going to plant up some corn in here. And I've also been particularly green as well at the moment. My beans, I'm going to plant in these. These are not toilet rolls. These are sort of tin foil roll thingamajigs that I've cut in half, and they're good because obviously they're a bit taller than your toilet rolls. And your beans, all sorts of those legumes have a long root run, so they like a nice long pot, and they don't particularly like being disturbed. So again, cardboard is a good way. So I can plant that straight into the ground, give it a good dampening first, and the roots will all grow through that. So that's good. And I'm using this battered old some sort of Chinese or food dish that Mrs F put in the dishwasher and has gone a bit funny, but that's perfect for holding the toilet rolls or these rolls here. And normally that's one of the sort of the problems that you have is, you know, they're all a bit wobbly, these things, but nice and snug in there. And I can put water in the bottom and that will keep these sort of automatically damp, which again is good, because that's another one of your problems that you have with the cardboard, is that it dries out quite quickly. So that is hopefully solving that problem. So I've got them there, and for the other sorts of beans I've got, I'm just going to use the toilet rolls. And as you can see at the bottom there, I've sort of cut the bottoms like a like your cardboard box, folding them over, and jobs are good. So again, reusing the plastic margarine tin, and again that's perfect for holding these. So I'm going to do a few of these. I'm only going to do this one here showing you today, but I'm going to be putting my various different beans that I've got, whether it be the sort of pole beans. I've got some beautiful purple pole beans and lovely yellow bush beans. This custard one's been a really good doer for me so far. And another one I've got, jade. That's another good one that I've got. Right, so let's get on with it. Okay, just a normal compost potting soil mix. I'll put it nice and firmly, and I filled these up here, and I'm going to make sure they're filled to the top. You don't do yourself any favours if you don't fill up your pots to the top, because obviously the more compost soil that's in there, the longer the seedlings can stay in there, and you don't have to sort of move them and get them shocked, etc. And when you water them, they sort of sink down anyway. So fill it right up to the top when you're going to use it. Where are we? What are we using here? Aha, corn. So this is Raquel. I haven't used this before. It's got a good write-up, supposed to be extra sweet. And this is definitely one of the pleasures of late summer, isn't it? There is nothing like walking out to the garden, picking a couple of ears of corn, straight into the water, 10 minutes or whatever it is in just the hot water, taking it out. Nice bit of, all you need is a nice bit of butter. There is nothing sweeter than that. Absolutely delicious. Right, so I'm just going to poke a few holes in. Not particularly deep. I'll push them down. Yes, last year I had a really good year, but the year before, complete disaster. Don't know what happened. Nothing germinated, and nothing worked. So I'm just pushing these in, as you can see, and I'm going to cover them with a bit more soil in a minute. Now these will germinate in a couple of weeks if it warms up nicely. You know, as with all of these summer plants, they aren't going to germinate unless it's warm, and they like a bit of bottom heat. Yeah, they like a bit of bottom heat, so you know you can still be using your radiator or whatever you got in the house, airing cupboard. They don't need light, they just need heat. Right, so that's these in. Just give them a little push in. Not too deep. And then I'll just give them a covering. Hang on. I pre-watered the compost before I started this. I forgot to mention that, sorry. So that's always a good idea. And then that naturally makes your soil go down a bit anyway, so you know how much you've got in there. And you can put a bit more soil if need be. Right, there we go. That is the corn done. It's exciting, isn't it? Corn, when you're getting the corn in the planted up, you know that it's not far from summer. Even though it's pretty chilly. So don't forget your marker. So I'm using just the lids from all these plastic dishes that I've used, and I'll just cut them up and I can reuse them all the time then. So environmentally friendly all the way today, except for this one, but this is a good sturdy plastic one, and this is going to serve me hopefully for a few years. So that's that one. Right, what should we do next? Let's do, in the big ones, my favourite of favourites on the bean front, scarlet runner beans, or as we say in the UK, just plain old runner beans, but they're not plain. Right, so there is nothing, you know, you don't have to particularly put these in any way, upside, downside, whatever it is, they're going to grow. So I just stick them in. And again, all of these plants, you know, even though they should, you know, they'll take a couple of weeks, a week or so to grow, to germinate, sorry. And they'll grow really quickly. So, you know, even if you haven't got time to plant them or anywhere to sort of plant them in, sow them indoors at the moment, don't worry. Wait till about a week or so before the last frost and just plant them up outside. They will grow really quickly, and you know, half the time they catch up with these ones anyway, but I like doing this. It's just that part of that whole ritual of you know, early season, mid-season, planting them up, and I'll plant a few outside and they will catch up really quickly. So the trials and tribulations of a YouTube amateur filmmaker, that camera just ran out of battery, and so I was merrily speaking away to that camera there for the last 5 minutes and sowed the rest of these beans up, and then what I've literally done is put some more potting soil just over the top there so that they're nice and covered. And then I've realised that that one, your one, wasn't actually on. So I had to do a bit of back and forth here. So hopefully it's not too jarring, pretty seamless. Anyway, so I've sowed all these, put them all in, covered them with some more compost, and there is a little label that I'm using. So I'm using the lids off the plastic containers that I've been reusing as pots, and cut them up, and they make good labels, and I can reuse them loads of times in. So that is the runner beans, and then the last 4 here, I'm using a purple pole bean. Oh my word, what's going on here? It's getting a bit old in the tooth, this. I've had these for about 3 years, so they're probably time to go soon. So this is the purple pole bean called Carmine. Beauty, actually. Nice purple beans, look good on the vine. The only trouble is that when you boil them, they lose their colour, which is always disappointing. Could be nice to be eating purple beans. Anyway, let's cover these as well. So in a week or so's time, like I said, a couple of weeks maybe, these should germinate and they'll grow really quickly. Purple Carmine, see, prior preparation there. Let's fill these up a bit more. Like I said, these were pre-watered, so there we go. Put theirs somewhere warm again, and next I'll be doing some more beans. But no need to bore you with more beans, etc. You've seen the way I do it. It's basically just taking a bean, not putting it in too deeply, making sure that your containers are full of compost, nice and firmly put in, somewhere warm. Keep them out of frost now. As soon as they germinate, make sure they're, you know, in a frost-free area, so the greenhouse or a a cold frame should be good, and if it is going to get frosty, make sure you sort of cover the cold frame as well, or just bring them in the house for the night if it gets a bit frosty. But in a few weeks time they'll germinate. Keep them nice and safe till the last frost's over, and then we'll be looking to be planting them up. I will be looking to plant them up somewhere in June, obviously depending on where your sort of last frost is, will be the same. And it's the same with the zucchini or courgette, the cucumbers, etc. Plant them exactly the same, and again keep them out of frost. All of these are basically the same enough. Keep them nice and moist as well. They like to be moist, and that's it. Summer planting is beginning. Job's definitely a good one.